Millions of people came to Canada chasing dreams, education, employment, and a better life. But what if that dream is quietly slipping away? Why are students, workers, and families suddenly packing their bags and leaving? What's happening behind the scenes that could potentially force nearly 5 million people to exit Canada by the end of 2025? From quiet policy shifts to bold immigration caps and enforcement crackdowns, Canada is undergoing major changes, and not everyone will be allowed to stay. Whether you're already in the country on a visa or planning to apply, the things you don't know might cost you everything. Let's break down the 10 new immigration rules reshaping Canada's future. Number 10. Expiration of temporary permits. Millions arrived as students, workers, and hopeful newcomers, but now they're racing against time. Nearly 4.9 million temporary residents in Canada, yes, millions, hold permits set to expire by the end of 2025. The twist? There will be no blanket extension this time. No emergency measures like those seen during the pandemic. No loopholes. Once that expiration date arrives, if you're not approved to stay, you must leave. Many people aren't even aware that their legal stay is about to end. Thousands could soon find themselves out of status and out of options. Think you're safe because you're studying, working, or visiting family? Think again. For many, the only chance to remain is to battle an overwhelmed immigration system already under severe strain. Miss a deadline or make one small error, and it could cost you everything. So ask yourself, out of these 4.9 million, how many will successfully stay? And what happens to those who don't? Number 9. Reduction in permanent residency targets. You'd assume the best way to secure your future in Canada is to apply for permanent residency. But here's the reality. Canada is reducing its permanent residency targets. The quota is being cut from 485,000 in 2024 to just 365,000 by 2027. That's 120,000 fewer spots. In a time when applications are surging, the doors are narrowing. It's like running toward a finish line that's shrinking before your eyes. But what they don't tell you is that fewer spots mean longer waiting times, more rejections, stiffer competition, and families stuck in limbo. This will directly impact over 800,000 international students, countless workers in essential sectors, and families who dream of calling Canada their permanent home. The clock is ticking, and the opportunity window is closing rapidly. Number 8. Cap on temporary residence. You could do everything right, secure a school admission, land a job offer, obtain a visa, and still be told there's no room. That's because, for the first time ever, Canada is placing a hard cap on temporary residence. By 2026, the government aims to reduce the total number of temporary residents to just 5% of the entire population, around 2 million or fewer people. That's a dramatic drop from today's 4.4 million. And this shift is already underway. Many people aren't even aware this is happening. It's no longer just about qualifying, it's about squeezing into a rapidly shrinking space. With too many applicants and too few spots, rejection rates are spiking, application processing is slowing, and some won't even get the chance to apply before the doors close. Employers are already expressing concern. Industries like technology, agriculture, and manufacturing rely heavily on temporary foreign workers. What happens when they can't find the labor they need? What happens to students who depend on part-time jobs to support themselves? This cap doesn't only affect new arrivals, it threatens the status of those already here. So ask yourself, if you're here under a visa, how secure is your future? Number 7. Increased enforcement measures. Many believe the rules don't apply to them until they receive a knock on the door. Canada's Border Services Agency is ramping up immigration enforcement. With millions of permits set to expire in 2025, officials are preparing for a mass departure. Voluntary exits are preferred. But if people overstay, deportations are very much on the table. CBSA has been quietly increasing removals, especially for those with expired permits or visa overstays. And it's not just individuals who are at risk. Employers hiring unauthorized workers are also being investigated. Penalties include fines, sanctions, and in some cases, criminal charges. What's most alarming is that many overstays happen unintentionally: a missed email, a form error, or a renewal that didn't process. One slip-up can destroy your entire future in Canada. Do you know your permit's expiration date? Are all your documents in order? Because enforcement is no longer lenient and second chances are disappearing fast. Number 6, international student cap. Getting accepted into a Canadian university is no longer a guaranteed ticket across the border. Canada has implemented a new cap on international study permits, and it's already affecting thousands. In 2024, the number of approved study permits dropped by nearly 35%. Another 10% cut is planned for 2025. What's shocking is that many students with admission letters and paid deposits are still getting denied, not due to qualifications or paperwork, but because their province hit its quota before their application was reviewed. It's not just about being eligible anymore, it's about whether your region still has space left. Ontario and British Columbia are particularly affected, with applications already exceeding limits. While smaller provinces may have room, it's only a matter of time before they reach capacity too. And this cap doesn't only hurt students. Fewer international students mean fewer campus jobs, empty rentals, and reduced local spending. Communities once thriving on student populations are now struggling. Could your acceptance letters still end in rejection? Is your seat already gone and you just don't know it yet? Number 5, reform of the post-graduation work permit program. PGWPP. Graduating from a Canadian institution used to be the golden key to staying longer. But that door is closing. Canada is tightening the rules around the post-graduation work permit program, and it's changing the game for thousands of students. Many graduates assume they can automatically stay and work, but under the new guidelines, not all programs or institutions qualify anymore. Only graduates from certain designated learning institutions (DLIs) are eligible. Some private colleges have been removed from the list entirely. If your program doesn't align with Canada's priority sectors, your approval chances could drop sharply. It's no longer just about getting a diploma, it's about whether that diploma even counts towards staying in the country. These changes are devastating for students who plan their futures around post-graduation work leading to permanent residency. The rules are evolving rapidly, and a student who enrolled in 2023 could be graduating into a completely different system by 2025. Will your program still qualify? Will your permit be denied? Don't wait until it's too late to find out. Number 4, temporary foreign worker program reform. You might think securing a job in Canada and receiving a valid visa guarantees your future, but in 2025, that's no longer the case. Canada is undergoing a major overhaul of its temporary foreign worker program (TFWP), and the effects are already being felt across the labor market. These reforms are reshaping how employers can hire foreign workers and under what conditions. In the past, companies had greater flexibility in hiring international talent across a range of positions and pay grades. Now, a 10% cap has been imposed on low-wage temporary foreign workers. This means employers can no longer bring in unlimited numbers of foreign workers for lower-paying roles, a move that significantly tightens entry pathways. But that's not all. For high-skilled positions, the bar has been raised even higher. Employers are now required to offer wages that are at least 20% above the median pay to qualify for hiring foreign workers in many sectors. On paper, this might seem like a victory for Canadian workers, ensuring they are prioritized and fairly compensated. However, for employers, it means rising costs and in many cases an unwillingness or inability to continue hiring foreign labor. Entire industries are starting to feel the squeeze. Agriculture, hospitality, and manufacturing, sectors that have traditionally depended on international labor, are now facing workforce shortages. With new caps, stricter labor market impact assessment (LMI) rules, and slower processing times, hiring qualified foreign workers is becoming harder than ever. Number 3, spousal work permit restrictions. Being married once meant security, a second pathway to stability, a built-in safety net. But in 2025, spouses of temporary residents are now facing stricter work permit limitations, and for thousands of families, this could turn everything upside down. Until recently, many spouses of international students and foreign workers could apply for open work permits. These permits allowed them to support their households financially, gain Canadian work experience, and contribute to the local economy. But that opportunity is now rapidly disappearing. Under the new policy, eligibility has been narrowed to specific categories of primary applicants. If your partner is not employed in a high-demand occupation or studying in a top-tier academic program, their spouse may be denied a work permit altogether. Many families arrive in Canada expecting to become a two-income household, only to find out one of them is legally barred from working. Imagine the stress of supporting your family on a single income while dealing with rising rent, grocery bills, tuition fees, and more, all while sitting at home with the qualifications to work but without the legal right to do so. And the consequences aren't limited to individual families. Less income for newcomers translates to reduced economic activity and slower integration. It's a domino effect that starts at home and ripples through the wider community. So ask yourself, is your spouse eligible under the revised guidelines? Are you aware of the updated criteria? What once seemed automatic is now uncertain. If this section has clarified something for you, consider subscribing. These policy shifts are complex, and we break them down using facts, not fluff. Stay informed. Stay prepared. Number 2, tightening of the asylum system. Not everyone arrives in Canada with a visa. Not everyone carries proper documents. But in 2025, the rules for asylum seekers are changing and changing fast. You might assume that seeking refuge in Canada guarantees protection, a chance to rebuild your life and find safety. But that promise is being redefined. Canada is tightening its asylum procedures more aggressively than ever before. In 2023, asylum claims exceeded 140,000, with over 17,000 people crossing borders irregularly. Now, in 2025, the Canadian government is cracking down hard. Deportations are being fast-tracked for individuals from countries labeled as safe. In addition, accelerated hearings are being introduced, in some cases occurring within just 30 days of a claimant's arrival. If your case isn't fully prepared or your documents are incomplete, you may be denied without a second chance. Another major change is the expanded Safe Third Country Agreement between Canada and the United States. If you pass through the U.S., even unintentionally, before reaching Canada, you may be turned away at the border. Refugee claimants must now complete digital applications, submit biometric data, and undergo rigorous identity checks. While this is designed to streamline the process, it also increases the risk of rejection due to even the smallest error or omission. And it doesn't stop at new arrivals. Thousands of individuals already in Canada are now under renewed scrutiny, especially those with pending claims that have seen no progress for months. The government is clearing backlogs through fast-track rejections. Canada has long been seen as a beacon for refugees, but that image may be changing. The border still exists. The promise still stands. But in 2025, the path to safety is no longer wide open. Number 1, elimination of automatic permit extensions. In the past, when your permit expired, you could apply for an extension and remain in the country legally while waiting for approval. It was a manageable process. But that era is over. Canada is ending the practice of automatic extensions. You'd be surprised how many people have legally remained in the country simply by filing extension applications, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic, when temporary leniencies allowed for automatic extensions of status. But in 2025, those grace periods are gone. Under the new rules, you must have an officially approved extension before your current status expires. If you don't, you immediately fall out of legal status. There will be no implied status, no automatic bridging, and no exceptions. It might sound straightforward, but consider this. Immigration processing times are now longer than ever, and the IRCC is overwhelmed by massive application backlogs. What happens if your permit expires before your renewal is processed? Thousands of people could suddenly become undocumented, even if they did everything right. This new rule is especially dangerous for students completing their programs, workers switching employers, or families renewing their visas together. One small gap in legal status can disrupt your path to permanent residency for years. So ask yourself, do you know your permit's expiration date? Have you verified your timelines? In 2025, there is no safety net. You've now seen 10 major changes to Canada's immigration landscape. Each one has the potential to impact millions, students, workers, families, and dreamers. Canada's doors are not fully closed, but they're definitely narrowing. If you're not paying close attention, you could find yourself on the wrong side of these evolving policies. From strict visa caps and deportation crackdowns to tighter permit conditions and the end of grace periods, this is no longer the Canada of 5 years ago. The system is stricter, faster, and far less forgiving. But here's the good news: knowledge is power. And now you're better informed than most. So do this right now: subscribe. Like the video if this opened your eyes. Share it with anyone who needs to know what's really happening. We'll keep breaking it down rule by rule so you always stay one step ahead. See you in the next one.